there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. I have a fun craft for you today. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Today we'll be working on a rustic Christmas tree craft, so let's get started. For this craft, I found this cool rusty drawer at a craft show. It was around $8. It measures about 9 inches in length, about 6 inches tall, and then the width across the bottom is about 5.5 inches. You can use any size you want. I love the wood bottom with all the rust in metal. I think it's really cool. I picked it up right away. This I also got at like an estate sale. It was $3. I really want to keep it all intact, but then if I like cut it up, I can have it for like 3 projects instead of just one, but I love it. So I am going to cut it about 7.5 inches long and about 4 inches or so tall. Right, just make a little sign out of it. Here it is, already done. I went ahead and just cut it outside and then sanded it off. I'm going to just put it right here like a sign, of course. And then this is just a block from a big spindle or something I had left over. I'm going to put it in the bottom of the drawer so that our tree can set on top. And this is a tree I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and it was half off, $5, you know, for a 24-inch tall tree. You can't beat that. These wood stockings are just in my supply. You can pretty much kind of get these anywhere. You can go to Etsy and order them, or you can download a free printable, cut them out of cardboard, however you want, as many as you want. I'm only going to use 3, and then just a couple of different blocks, wood blocks I had laying around. And then I'm going to be using some Dixie Belle paint, the color Drop Cloth and Rustic Red. I have had questions in the past, you know, where do you get your Dixie Belle paint? And I usually just kind of get it off Etsy, you know, wherever I could find, you know, quickest to get to me type thing. But I do have a wonderful woman I came in contact with. Her store is called To the Nines. There is, of course, a website. I'll leave that link down below. If you're local in her area, her address will be there as well if you want to go in store to purchase these. They are a great price. She has all sorts of items besides just Dixie Belle paint. I will also have a coupon code down below for you for a first-time order of 10% off, so make sure you take advantage of that. Just a little information for you. All right, so we're going to start off with our painting. Now, on the back side, normally you all know if it's a light colored wood like this, I take my Waverly Antique wax mixed with water, and then I'll do that first and then paint over the top. But on the back side, I wasn't quite worried about it. But as you can see here on like the cuff of the stocking, I am doing that so that, of course, if you're new to my channel, when we go to distress, when I'm using, you know, light color on top, or not always a light color, but when I go to distress, the paint will have kind of that, you know, antique wax kind of look behind it, give it kind of a two-tone look of paint. So that's why I do that. Did any of that make sense? I'm painting my 2 blocks of wood just in case. These are going to be presents. I'm going to wrap them in some fabric, and in case the wood kind of shows through the fabric, if it's a little bit thin or something, I don't want you to see the wood tone color, so I'm just painting those. All right, my Waverly Antique Wax is all dry. Now I'm painting the drop cloth. On the back side, of course, I'm not going to have that piece of wood on the back side, so I'm just going to paint the cuff on the back side. And in the front, of course, we'll have kind of that 3D image with that extra cuff at the top of the wood stocking, but I still want the back to, you know, look like a stocking, obviously. All right, now I'm coming in and painting the front of the stocking a little bit. Well, not a little bit, all of it. I have to paint all of it. Okay, and then on the sign, I just want to kind of keep the integrity of this wood piece, even though I cut it apart, you know, it kind of came from an old crate, but I still want to see that burnt look of the wood and the texture of the wood and all that. So I'm just doing a little whitewash in the center with the drop cloth. All right, so our fabrics, this top one here, I think came from Walmart. This is actually a curtain. I purchased it at Goodwill. I think it's beautiful, but I mainly got it for this checkered pattern. And then this is like a muslin, and this one looks crinkly, but it's not crinkly, came from Hobby Lobby. So I'm cutting 2 pieces at 14 by 12. This piece and the checkered piece, because I think they match nicely, and I want, you know, top and bottom to be a little different. And then a piece of batting. Batting is totally optional, all right? And then I ripped 2 pieces of that checkered fabric. They are 2 inches wide by about 46 inches long. And then I cut 1 piece of batting, same, about 2 inches, 46 inches long. I want to tie this into a bow, and I want it to have some poofy. Again, batting is optional. So if you want the batting, you're going to lay one piece of your strip with the wrong side up and lay your batting on top. My batting was a little bit short, but that doesn't matter. I'll cut off the excess of the fabric. And if you're a gluer, you're going to glue your batting completely to it. I'm going to just kind of spot glue the batting on there so it holds it in place. And if you don't want to do the batting, obviously you don't have to. You can just use one single piece of ripped fabric tied in a bow. You can use ribbon tied in a bow. You don't even have to have a bow. That's however you want it. So here I am cutting off that extra fabric. And once you have your batting glued into place, you're going to take your other strip right sides together and lay it on top of the first strip. If you're a gluer, you're going to come between the two fabrics right along that edge, one long side glue, one short side, and the other long side, leaving that end open. So essentially your whole center is not glued. Okay, if you're a sewer, you're going to do the same thing. Sew around one long side, one short side, one long side, leaving one short end open. Okay, so here I am just sewing down it, getting it ready. And again, bow, no bow, batting, no batting, ribbon, fabric, whatever you want. If you have homespun fabric, of course, where it's double-sided on both sides, then, you don't have to do any of this if you don't want to. I just like my bows to sometimes be puffy, whether I'm using homespun or not, and I like that look, so that's what I'm doing. Here it is all sewn, and now I'm going to turn it so it's pretty sides out. And I like to take long needle nose pliers so I can really grab clear down in the middle of it and pull a long, big chunk out. Those of you who are doing this, I'll see you in an hour. No, it took like 10 minutes maybe. It went pretty quick. All right, so now I'm back to my two pieces of fabric. If you don't want batting, don't do the batting. You don't even have to have two different fabrics like I'm doing. I did it this way. I'm going to have that one on top and the checkered on the bottom. So if a little bit of the checkered shows, it matches the checkered bow. I have reasons for why I do things. So, of course, I've got my batting sandwiched between the wrong sides of my two pieces of fabric. We need to get it around the base of our tree. It's going to be a tree skirt. So we're either going to cut down the middle or in a corner. It doesn't matter which way you choose. The first thing I'm going to do is just fold it in half and in half again to find my center. Just stick a pin there to mark it. And then I am going to cut it from a corner. Now, I probably should have went about another inch in, but it works fine with the container I'm using. All right, and now being a sewer, I'm going to sew all the way around the perimeter, up and around the slit, wherever you choose to make your slit. If you're a gluer, you're just going to pretty much glue the whole thing together, making sure you kind of get around the edge. And then once that's all glued or sewed, it will go around our tree base like that. So here I am, sewing it. I kind of skipped ahead a little bit, because I just sewed some straight edges. But here I come like around where I'm coming to. You can see where I cut it. I'm going to go clear up and just go past it a little bit, probably about half an inch past. And then I'm going to, release my foot back down again so I can still keep in that straight line and come back down the other side. And that's how I'm going to kind of sew that corner, good and together. Now we're back to our ribbon. All I'm doing is that cut edge. I just turned it in and I'm gluing it. I'm not going to sew it or anything, leaving it like that, but I will sew around the whole perimeter of my ribbon because I want to. You don't have to. If you're a gluer and you like hand sewing, you can make some stitches. This is what it looks like. It does help flatten out your ribbon a little bit, which is also one of the reasons I kind of did that, but I just like the look. It finishes off a little bit more. But your main thing is, as I sand and distress all these lovely pieces here, is you at least want to take that cut edge of that ribbon, fold it in and glue it or sew it shut so it's finished off. Here I am just sanding away. You can distress as much as you want. Of course, I'm going to distress front, back, everything. Here I am distressing the sign a little bit. Making sure that I really distress the edges because I don't want it to look like a rectangle paint swatched in the middle. I will have a free printable for you. I cut mine out in vinyl. If you look at the upper left, there's a top and a bottom design. The word "the" is in two different spots, so you can choose which design you like. There'll be a PDF and a PNG linked to my blog in the description box. And each version, PDF or PNG, will come with a 2-page so that there's different sizes, okay? So you'll get both designs in either PDF or PNG, and both have 2 pages so that you have some different sizes to choose from. Did that make any sense? Now I'm gluing my cuff onto my stockings, and then I'm taking some black paint mixed with water, my fan brush, and I'm just splattering my stockings and my sign just to give it a little bit more depth. I feel like I'm really jumbling my words. Hopefully I'm understandable today. You don't have to splatter. Everything I say is always optional. All right, now I'm going to just start gluing the fabric onto my presents. You're wrapping presents, no rhyme or reason. I really kind of just skip ahead a little bit here and there. But on this one, since fabric is really bulky, the first thing I'm going to do, or the last thing I'm going to do on this is I use double stick tape because the glue kind of shows through this fabric. And I just cut a piece to fit over where those ends folded up over the wood, so it kind of hid all that, if you know what I mean. This one, the fabric is really thick, so I cut out a little bit of bulk there. And then I'll continue wrapping, because the other one might have went a little bit fast, bringing these ends up and over. And I want to hide those ends. So here it is, slower for you, double stick tape, and then covering that like this. All right, now I'm just taking, this is just some red and cream twine, and I'm just wrapping it again like a present. I'll tie it in a little bow on both of them. This one I'm kind of doing it up at the top, and the other one I'll do a little bit more in the middle. And then I'm just going to take a rusty safety pin and a bell and just safety pin it to the middle. Not too much decoration, but just a little bit. And I wanted to make sure I use bells because I am going to put some bells on our tree, just a few, and rust because everything's rusty. I want it to go together. Finish this one up nice and easy. Perfect. Now I want to drill some holes into the stockings. So 2 of the stockings I did on one side and 1 of the stockings I did on the other, because one stocking's going to hang in different directions, that kind of thing. So I wanted them to hang a little bit different. And then I'm putting some holes in my sign. And of course I chose the drill bit that matched the diameter of my wire. This is a little bit thicker wire, probably 20 gauge, and I just, cut about good 6-8 inches, use my needle nose pliers to make it twirl, straighten it out, push it through like that, and then fold it down on the back side. This is going to make it look like we, put our sign through the container itself. It's just a facade, but it gives it that little country look with the curlicue of the wire on the front. And in this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I just have a long piece of wire at first because I wasn't sure how long I needed. I'm twirling it. I'll put it through the stocking. I will have extra. It's going to still be longer than I need, but I'll press the curlicue up against the stocking so it matches the sign, figure out how long I need it, and cut off the excess. And then I'll do all of the stockings with that length of wire. You can hang these however you want. If you want to just use a regular Christmas, ornament hook, that's perfectly wonderful too. Again, rusty wire because it all goes in with the rust. So this is going to go on here, but because of the wire on the back, it doesn't sit level. So I'm adding some pieces of wood here. I'm just going to wood glue it between the wire and down at the bottom so that when I go to glue this on later, the sign will lay level on the side of our rusty drawer. Now what I'm doing is taking my quick hole glue. It's like a, derivative of E6000. I'm gluing my thing into the bottom of this because I want my tree to set up a little bit. The drawer's really deep. I want my tree a little bit more up. All right, so now I have some lights here. I get these off Amazon. They're like 20 bulb light strands. I get like 22 a box or something like that for about $16, $17. I love the little skinny battery pack. Way more affordable than Dollar Tree, of course. And I'm just, of course, putting my lights on the tree. And now I'm going to take that same quick hole glue and I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. I know that the weave of the burlap, the glue will get in there and be on the bottom of the, the tree and then set nice on that wood block. It'll be permanent. And then we're going to take this. I'm going to make sure it's going to fit right on my container there. It's a little bit rectangular. I'm going to kind of push it in, that kind of thing, get it how I want in the back. And then I'm just going to glue those 2 pieces together. It's just a facade. I want to glue it and then make it look like we sewed it together. I apologize. I don't know why my camera's blurry here. These are Sewology buttons from Hobby Lobby. This is Ranger Distress Oxide ink by Tim Holtz and Walnut Stain. And I'm just going to kind of ink up my button, make it look really, grimy and yucky. And then I'm going to thread it with that same thread. I think my camera's trying to focus in the back. So I threaded it and made a little bow there, and I'm going to cut off the excess, and I'm just going to glue the button to it. It's going to look like we sewed it with the, twine through the back of our little cut area. It looks really cute. Now I have some bells here. I was going to use rusty bells, but I didn't, and some rusty wire. And I'm just taking one piece of the wire through the top of the bell, of course, and then kind of wrapping the wire around itself. And I'll do that on all 3 bells. I know I have 4, but I'm only going to use 3. All right, so that's what that'll look like. I'll do the rest of all the other bells. I've got my stocking ready to go here, and I'm just going to take the top, figure out how long I want my stocking to hang, and then that wire, I folded it over itself and made a loop at the top, curled around it like this, curl the cut end of the wire around the other wire. And then we'll have that loop to hang on the tree, if that makes sense. I am really sorry for my view here. My camera is like way up close. I didn't realize it. So a lot of this I had to cut out because all you saw was my hair in the way. That's a nice view. So I have 3 stockings. I just kind of hung them, top, middle, bottom, and then the bell. Here's one bell at the top, and then I'll hang another bell kind of middle and bottom on the back side because I wanted something there. I really didn't want too much on this tree because our sign is all about the stockings. I wanted the stockings to be front and center, but I still wanted just something on the back, like I said earlier, so I did a few little bells to kind of go in with it. Now what I'm doing is I'm just gluing my tree skirt to the container so it doesn't pop out. And I forgot to show you here, so I froze the image. I stuffed cotton all on the inside, batting, stuffing, so that the tree skirt wouldn't just fall inside the container, okay? So I'll go ahead and finish gluing. You don't have to glue to the edges. I just do so it stays in place, and then I'm going to go ahead and pop my presents right in there. This is where the stuffing is going to help because otherwise your presents are going to weigh that tree skirt right down to the center of the container. So my brain's thinking a little bit, believe it or not. And then on this end where the drawer handle is, I've tied my, fabric into a bow, and this is the end I'm going to put the bow on, kind of tuck it right back in there. So I'm gluing the tails down a little bit, and then I'll kind of get the knot of the bow glued down. I wanted it there. I wanted you to be able to see it, but it wasn't front and center, obviously, because our sign is as we take our quick hole glue and glue it to the front of the container. That makes this project complete. Let's take a look at the final results. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I know it was only one, but I've been telling you guys October is jury duty month, and you know where I spend a little bit of time this week, and we'll see what happens again next week. But I think this turned out really cute, and I would probably make another one. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below if you want to make one for yourself. If you like this or not, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you walked in here for the first time, you're just checking things out, you're digging what you saw, make sure before you click off, you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on another video from me. Now, before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. Our sense of identity. One small word that combines a personal understanding of who we are, our beliefs, our experiences. It's our continuous, lifelong process that defines what we think, how we act, how we live and move. It gives us confidence, and it defines our well-being. When we have a strong sense of identity, it means that we have a clear and present connection to our values and our sense of purpose. These values and our purpose in life lead us to our connection with Jesus. He is our maker and our one true God. He created us in His image with an unconditional bond of love. This selfless act of love combines our lives with Him, giving us purpose to love Him back, which in turn develops our spiritual relationship with Him through faith and trust. This trust strengthens our connection to Him and ultimately builds a strong bond with Him. All the parts of our identity that God created us with seem to kind of combine together and weave their way from one thing into another. It's a cycle where one step seems to encourage the next step, and they all essentially work with each other as we live our lives rooted in Jesus. In the Bible, the book of Acts, chapter 17, verse 28, it says, "It is through him that we live and function and have our identity." Within the truth of these words of God, it is realistic to say that our being exists in Jesus. We are grafted in him. He is our breath and our life. He is our connection through faith. We are joined to God, and since we are joined to him, we are also the sole heir of his strength, which helps us endure hardship, overcome weakness, and find peace in our everyday lives. Jesus gives us an unshakable foundation to withstand life's storms, challenges, and heartaches without being broken. He is our way through the storm and our truth to win against the enemy. In essence, he is and should be in our thoughts, hearts, minds, our identity. He is the cause of who we are and what we think. He shapes our lives. Our trust in him defines our well-being and how we face life. Individually and together, we live in Jesus, bonded, sustained by his grace, thankful for his love. And lastly, no matter what we face each day, let our hearts always remember this. As we share in God's promises, which continually flow from his love for us, let us have encouragement and confidence in our beliefs as we experience every moment that he will never leave us. His bond will never be broken, and his connection will be with us forever. As it says in the Bible, the book of Matthew, chapter 28 and verse 20, "I am with you always, remaining with you perpetually, regardless of circumstance and on every occasion, even to the end of the age." I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.